So I was just posting about Genai, this new productivity AI that I have that is up to speed on you versus knowing nothing about you or asking you to piecemeal information in. And I posted about it, and Oliver kindly took a look and had a couple of questions. So I want to go through it. So the basics of it is that we're going to use GPT-4o, and we're going to give it as much personal information as we can. And to give that information, we're going to do it in a way that is structured and is easy for us to update and access whenever we want, right? Because a productivity tool, one of the worst things about productivity tools is when it has a clunky or slow interface that we don't actually want to open the file, or when we're trying to kind of update a certain aspect of it, we have to dig for the information. One thing about this is that there are different types of content. There's content that you might be able to pull from APIs. There is content that you might post about on social media, and those are kind of maybe a little bit similar to the same things, but you can imagine like a to-do app or posting it on Workcast and posting it on Twitter. But there's a whole host of information that is inaccessible unless you specifically give it. And so I was posting about it, and then Oliver down here said, hey, I'll check it out. You obviously know about the GPT. Tell me about your self feature. I'm assuming you figured out a way with Genai or Genai AI to stuff more context into each query. And in a way, it's about kind of giving more information, but it's also just about kind of how we structure that information, because there's different types of information. So you'll see here that Oliver had this kind of great kind of, thankfully he put up a screenshot. You'll see that there's a little input box here, description box, with only 1,500 characters. And then it says, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? 1,500 characters. And the context window of a GPT-4o, I think, is like 128,000 characters. It might even be a million. I'm not sure, but it's far greater than the 1,500 that's available here. So we're already at a huge win. But I took it a step further. And so I want to kind of briefly review kind of where we're at, and then another layer that we've added on just within the last couple hours. So the most important part about this is that there are different types of data. And what I mean by that is that there is data, here's an example. So this is the user state file. It's a little bit small, but I'll kind of zoom in on it. But this is information about you that you're going to front load. And it might be around that 1,500 character mark. It actually could be triple, quadruple that, right? You could have 6,000 characters of information about you, but it's kind of like name, birthday, skills, and attributes, my dreams, my fear, my favorite foods, my favorite movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this data isn't something that you would post on Twitter. It's not something that you'd post on Facebook, maybe lightly, but this kind of open text field format allows you to kind of bring back your creativity to kind of accurately describe who you are in this current moment. The next style are kind of initiatives, and initiatives are kind of, again, these are your goals and tasks that you have lofty kind of expectations of. You're working towards them. It's not something that you can do in a day. It's actually maybe over weeks or months or years, you're going to pick away at it, and eventually you're going to achieve it. And so initiatives is something that you might update kind of every like once a week, once a month, once a quarter. And this is kind of a different type of data. Then the other type of data is that you have your daily to-do, upcoming, and done list. This is something that you should be updating regularly every single day. So this file should be extremely easy to access. And so if you imagine something like Oliver's kind of input here, going to this ChatGPT input to update your to-dos or update your calendar is an absurd idea, right? It's just, from a productivity standpoint, it would just be far too much of a hassle to kind of want to live with that over time, especially when we have far better alternatives online right now. And so what might come to mind is that, well, I have my Gmail, or I have my Google Calendar, or I have my, super list, to-do list, right? And that's all very true. Personally, I like to write out the things that are highest priority on my mind. And so I like to do it this way. And then in addition to that, I do have a Google Calendar. I do have an email, stuff like that everyone else has. And so what we've added in right now is also the ability to pull in APIs. So the first API that I want to show off is Airstack. Airstack is a fantastic kind of Workcast and Farcaster API project. And this is the first time I used it, just 20 minutes ago. Basically, I went to Airstack, I went to their API studio. I said, get the recent Workcast cast for myself, which is the handle is Wondolinsky. And in 10 seconds, it came back with a full response of all of these things. You'll see that there's more than kind of even what I expected here. It came back with the URL. It came with the replies, the recasts, the likes, all this different information. And really all I want is the timestamp, the number of replies, and the number of likes and the text. So what I did is I kind of grabbed all that information, put it into this file, and then in my Genai AI, I pull in that data, then I loop through that data in this kind of little function, and then I'm adding it into my instructions here. And so what's nice about this is that some days I'm like, I really care about my social posts, and other days I don't really care about it. And this application and this kind of project allows me to be ultra kind of configurable and have that kind of sliced knife approach to the things that I want to work on. So here's something that I put. I said recently I've been also posting on Workcast, a Web3 social media platform. Here are some of the posts I've made, and I pull in that Workcast data through interpolation. Give me feedback on my Workcast posts, right? And so here I'm able then to kind of go node.ai.js. It's going to go to Airstack. Thanks so much for creating that API. It works fantastic. And it's going to read all of my recent Workcast posts. It's also going to look at what I'm working on, my initiatives, everything about me. And what's super unique about this is that now it is able to pull in from multiple API endpoints really quickly. So we can do this all in parallel, asynchronously, as opposed to ChatGPT. It might go from one source to next source to next source. It actually kind of times out on API requests. And we're able to combine off-chain data, especially even here, it's even more important than off-chain data because it's personal off-chain data with on-chain data. And that's where this kind of really starts to shine. So you'll see here it says feedback on the Workcast post. First, let's analyze some of your Workcast activity to identify patterns and provide actionable feedback. It says content variety. Your posts cover a diverse range of topics, including updates on VIPA and Genai AI, live notifications of events, blah, blah, blah. Suggestions for improvement, right? It says optimize for engagement. Encourage more interaction by asking direct questions or by running polls related to your posts. Highlight success stories or testimonies from users of VIPA or Genai AI to build credibility and community. Consistency of visuals for posts that link to YouTube or other external content. Ensure the thumbnails and visuals are high quality. Using tools like Canva and leveraging moments. Use your personal updates strategically to humanize your brand and connect more deeply with your followers. For example, sharing personal milestones or behind the scenes content can create a more engaged audience, right? And so it has all of this information. Again, it's combining in-person and on-chain data, which I think is just fantastic. So I hope that kind of covers why an interface, a UI, something like ChatGPT gets you kind of like 20-30% of the way there. But something like this, which is a little bit more technical, but highly configurable, can become a supercharged AI assistant where anytime I want to come in and update it really quickly, I just come to the file and I type it in. And this is just a lot faster, right? I can go initiatives, and you get there. If I want to go to my daily, I go there and I get through. And so for a kind of highly productive, or at least aiming to be a highly productive person, this is a way that I can kind of feed the AI the most recent data extremely fast, while also making use of external APIs to pull in data that I don't actually want to kind of constantly kind of reach out and kind of be updating that input, being like, hey, go look at this. Like, here's my calendar data. Let me copy and paste it over and over and over again.